I am extremely excited to talk to you about something I feel very passionate about, and I think it's one of the strongest, most manly and powerful and super duper functional pieces of a man's wardrobe, and that's a scarf. And I feel like they're just so attractive, so stylish, and more functional than they are either of those. I want to talk about that today. So you know how you see a picture in a magazine and they're wearing a sweater and they just look real good and you're like, I want that sweater. It's good. Or they're wearing a flannel, or maybe they're just super slicked out in a nice suit and a top coat, or just that style that you see all over Pinterest and you think it's just, wow, that looks good, and you want to get that article. But for some reason, you didn't even notice that they're wearing a scarf. And it's because I think that it's just like we're almost trained not to see it because it's like a elusive visual element of a man's wardrobe. At least that's how it was for me for most of my life. And then I moved to New York and I was just freezing all the time because it's just so much more windy here in the winter. So I grabbed one up for like $5 at like a street vendor thing. And I wrapped it around and I was like, oh crap, wow, this is significantly warmer. And it's not just like, and I had a heavy coat. It's not just like just a little bit of thing. And then that day I got a compliment and they're like, ooh, nice scarf. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I always thought they were kind of like feminine for some reason. I don't understand why I thought that, because then I started seeing men, not boys, wear scarves. Men wear scarves. And it was just a super ultra rugged, awesome, manly, powerful item. And it was always worn with confidence. Again, it goes back to boys not wearing them. Men wear them. And that's, I think, why I didn't notice them. And that's why I probably thought they were feminine, because boys tend to, like, they make fun of stuff that they don't understand. A man, once he matures with his style, starts implementing it. And this is really pretty cheap scarf. And I think that once you kind of tackle it and accept it as an element of possibility, let's talk about a little bit about that. Okay, so here's the thing. Scarves are ultra functional. They're actually, I would say, more important than a pair of gloves. Hear me out for a sec. Gloves you can put in your pocket. You can put them in your sleeves. You can just kind of put them inside the jacket. But a scarf, there's nothing else. If your neck is bare, it's bare. You can't really even wrap a collar around it. But with a scarf, you can bundle that up. And if you don't have a beard, or if you have a beard, it starts to get windy and like sweaty and freezes or snotty. But with a scarf, you can just kind of open it up, and wrap it around, kind of like a ski mask. If it's good enough for the military, it's good enough for me. It's the most functional extra, I guess, item. It works in the fall, winter, and spring. It's extremely functional. So if you think that, oh, well, I'm not interested in style, like, oh, that style is not for me. It's not really about that. It's about the use of it. Like, that's the part that you're missing out. It's insane how much better your life will be when you're outdoors if you just have a scarf that works. Like, it's no brainer. Once you start using it, you kind of can't turn back. I'm really passionate about that because it's such a difference that you didn't even know that you missed. So I want to talk about the kinds of scarves that I own. I have 3. There's a light, a medium, and a heavy. You're looking at a light right now. This is about $12 from H&M. Lasts forever. Bought it like 3-4 years ago. It's made of a pashmina or a linen. I'm not really sure. I can't remember. I cut off the tags because you should definitely cut off the tags if you buy a scarf. It just really smooths out the whole look and gives it that kind of flowy, asymmetrical business, whatever. It looks better. So I think that the light one works good with like lighter jackets, leather jackets, kind of a more rugged feel. It works good with like a chunky sweater or just kind of like a ripped vibe. That kind of streetwear. I like that, especially in a dark tones. For men, I recommend keeping everything below a 50% gray level of darkness. Don't go too bright. I think it kind of starts becoming a little feminine, especially if you have like these little thingies at the end. I think when you have a lighter scarf and it has those, it gets super feminine. But when it's dark, it's masculine. And that's just my personal preference. Do whatever you want, but I think it just looks so much just tougher to have a dark colored scarf. Not necessarily black. This one's all gray. So yeah, let's talk about the medium right now. This is the medium scarf, and this is probably my most used one in the winter. It's a cashmere one, and it works really good with my heavy coat. A heavy scarf and a heavy coat I don't know, it's a little bit bulky, only on the extreme like blizzard days that I wear that. But so my medium is the one that I use the most. And I recommend if you only buy one scarf, buy a medium weight, make it like kind of pretty neutral and bland, maybe something in gray because it can work with browns and blacks. I wouldn't go too light. I'd say mid gray to dark gray. I wear a lot of black, so I'm okay with this black and reddish thing. And it's good because you can just choke it up. I kind of tend to wear it this way. I'll go over how I wear it at the end of the video. And that's the medium one. All right, this one is my heavy scarf, probably my favorite one because it has a straight end and it has a really nice rich burgundy and a dark turquoise. It works with my skin tone really well. It's super bulky. It's great for heavy days. It's great around the face, everything like that. Is probably, yeah, it's definitely my favorite one. But I don't get to wear it all the time because it's super warm, so I'm only wearing it in the winter. Now this kind of scarf works good with like a bomber, my heavy coat, it can work with, the heavy ones are good, but again, it's heavy. It's kind of like your heavy coat. Like you don't use that all winter long. You just kind of right at the most cold part of it. So I don't necessarily recommend this as being your main scarf. I would recommend the middleweight, but if you got this, you could probably work it because you just wear it a different way, which let's talk about right now. Lastly, I want to talk about how to wear a scarf because you can quickly become insecure with a scarf. You can quickly feel kind of girly if you're kind of doing it wrong, at least that is for me. So I want to kind of go over a few things, like just wearing it around the back of the neck and the collar over it, just straight down. It's very classy and kind of a manly, like a Don Draper kind of vibe to it. And then you can also just kind of give it like say a one loop over. And this is very kind of like old schooly, you know, if I had a top coat, that'd work really well. It's very Wall Streety type thing. But then you have just a quick wrap where it's pretty short and you wrap it around and tuck it through. It's just super slouchy. This vibe reminds me of that game Uncharted. It's very rugged. I think it's kind of more of a manly thing versus a classy thing. It's a less Don Draper as it is a guy who's a friend of yours that's super sharp dressed and probably out on an adventure going in the Sahara to keep things at the sun off his neck or, you know, just a stylish event. This is just very casual and rugged. Yeah, this one's probably what I do most often. Lastly is when you just basically fold it in half. I just kind of pull out one end just a little bit longer than another and I just grab it around the neck, pull it through. And this is what I wear when I put my coat up all the way to the neck. So if it were in the vein of this where I'm nice and protected all the way, my coat's all the way with a zipped or up top, it's a very clean look. But it's not like a tie look. Like it works for business or casual, it's street. And I mean, especially when the collars go up to keep that wind just a little bit more, man, you see people crying next to you and shivering and you're totally fine. And you know, there's nothing, it's just, you feel a little more powerful, a little more manly to know that you're bearing this cold. You were prepared. So lastly, I just hope that this convinces you to just drop 10 bucks on a scarf, get a medium weight one in a very bland tone, wear it on a super cold day, and you'll be like, wow, this is so much more comfortable and warmer and more functional than I ever could have thought it would be. And also, yeah, it does. It levels up your whole style and people will be like, oh, nice scarf. The girls will touch it if it's cashmere, all that business. It's freaking awesome. It's like the superpower. And I don't understand why more men don't wear them. And I think that it comes down to what I was saying in the beginning. Boys don't wear them. men wear them. And that's kind of like my separation of, and I try not to convince people, but this video is for you guys who are super open to growing as men, and it's just great. I just love this article. I think it's good, it's warm, it's functional. Again, you can actually even use them all year round. There are summer scarves too. It's elongating, makes you taller and thinner. And there's another thing is men with thicker necks and bulkier traps and top silhouette like that, it gives more of that triangle shape that's ultra attractive to women and people in general. It's just like beefy and fucking powerful. And man, they're so good. It's just crazy how awesome they are. All right, so if you've never bought one, I recommend H&M or TOPMAN or Uniqlo. Uniqlo is awesome if you're looking for something that's like heat tech that really, really is ultra functional. I would stay away from acrylic in general for all clothing. I know it feels soft, but acrylic is just plastic. It's just not a good material. It's that hat that you always seem to pill up the first year and you're like, oh, this is junk. It looks gross. You can get a nice wool that it doesn't itch. It's possible. You just got to find a nicer brand. Don't just stay away from acrylic, especially with scarves, because it's right on your neck and it's going to quickly get dirty and pill up real quick. So go with an alpaca wool or a nice cashmere. You're going to really like it, I swear. So lastly, if you want to hear more of my inner thinking about everything in my life, I have a podcast. It's almost every day that I upload a new episode. It's called The Bond Life. Check it out. I work really hard on that. It's crazy. You get to really hear me as a person. None of this filter with YouTube or edits. It's raw. So check that out. It's really awesome. Also, you guys, if you like this video, like it, share it, whatever. That really helps somebody else see it. Otherwise, YouTube buries it. It's crazy how aggressive the algorithm is on YouTube, so liking it really matters. So let me know if this inspired you to get a scarf or just saw it in a new light. Thanks for watching the video. There's a link in the description of this video with a scarves inspiration board I found on Pinterest. It's pretty awesome. It's not mine, but if you want to see more examples of men in scarves, that's a good one. Until next time, out.